Hello, this is Maria coming to you from my studio here at home. This is day, I've lost track of this quarantine, just trying to keep busy and keep doing things at home. Today I am making some face masks. We are going grocery shopping with my husband tomorrow, and I felt that we should have face masks for our protection. This is not a medical mask. It's not for medical professionals. It can actually be worn as a liner underneath the N95 masks or R95 masks, whatever they are, to help protect the skin against any abrasion that might occur with the fibers from those masks. This particular fabric is a silk charmeuse. It's very soft against the skin, so it provides a really good protective barrier between the actual regulation mask and your skin. Anyway, it's very easy to follow, a very easy to follow video. You learn how to draft the pattern and how to sew it. Sewing it takes no time at all, really. I just go very, very slowly just to make sure that anybody, beginners and experts alike, can follow along. Please do your best, and I hope that you enjoy the video and that you can make some masks and it'll be of some use to you. Okay, so let's get going. So to draft a pattern, this pattern is very, very simple. As I said, it's a contoured face mask. The finished pattern piece is going to look like this, with this side up. Okay. You will need something to draw a right angle with. If you have the Le Grand Chic tools, well then you already have that right angle and you already know the importance of drawing it. If you don't have the tools, well then a carpenter square will work just as well, just as easily. If you don't have that, well then an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper will work just as well. As you can see, it is a right angle. It has 4 right angles, so one of them will work just fine. So don't worry, you will just measure along the edges rather than drawing it. Okay. If you have the tools, just some children's easel paper or brown paper bag, or an old newspaper will work just fine. So I'm going to be using the children's easel paper, and I will be using my bodice square to draw a right angle. Now I'm going to do it in marker, so if I make a mistake, I'm in trouble. I'm going to be do it in marker just so it's easier to see. The other thing you'll need is some tissue. So I happen to have my onion skin tissue that I trace pattern pieces with. If you don't have that, and I don't assume many people do, just the regular tissue from the dollar store will work just fine. As long as it's see-through, you'll be able to see your lines. It'll be fine to trace. It's not a very big pattern piece. So that'll work just fine. Whether it's new or used, it doesn't matter. It could have sparkles on it. That doesn't matter either. All right, so I'm going to draw a right angle. Now the measurements that I'm going to be using are, it's going to be a rectangle, 17 by 12. Okay, there, I want to get a little closer so you can see. Okay, so I'm just going to draw that right angle. All right, so now this is the vertical, this is the horizontal. So the vertical, I'm going to make 17 centimeters. So I'm just going to measure here, and then just anywhere at random, just to draw a line. Okay? All right, so here I have my line. So now I have to find the horizontal measurement. So that was 17. The horizontal measurement is 12. So there's 12. And I'm going to measure at 2 points, so at the top line and the bottom line. And this way I know that these lines will be perpendicular to each other. Okay, so there is your rectangle. This is the top, this is the bottom. Right? Now I have to find the halfway point. So the halfway point, 17, is 8.5. So again, I'm measuring that on both lines. And drawing a line. Okay? So step 1, right angle. On an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, you would be measuring just from here to here 17. So that's step 1. And then down here at random 17 as well. And then drawing a line. Sorry, I guess I was out of the, so you see where I drew? I put 17 here, 17 there. Okay? So that's what I mean by using just the edge of the paper. Okay? So then we found the halfway point, which was 8.5. So number 1, the right angle. Number 2, draw vertical lines. Or measure vertical lines, pardon me. In 2 spots. Okay? Number 3, draw the lines. Draw the line this way. And then number 4, you're going to measure the horizontal lines. At 2 spots as well. So you're going to measure from here to here and from there to there, and that was 12 centimeters. Okay? Then number 5, find the halfway point and draw a line. Now, there is your base right here. Now, all you have to do is do the shaping. All right, so you're going to, at the very top, measure in 3 centimeters. At the bottom, you're going to measure in 5. So this is 3, and this is 5. Okay? Actually, I'm going to use a different color for the shaping. That'll make it a bit easier for everyone to see. So I am going to use red. Okay. So in 3, in 5. Okay. Then back here, you're going to measure 5 centimeters, and you're going to divide it 2.5 and 2.5. Okay, so this is 2.5, 2.5. Okay, easy enough. Now we're just going to connect the dots. But we're going to do it in such a way to shape it. So I'm going to connect this dot with just a gently curved line to that. And that goes underneath the chin. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the top. So I'm going to connect it just with a curve. Then I'm going to connect this one to about 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, sorry. So this is 3. I'm going to connect this line to there, and then this line to here. There's your pattern. Now, wasn't that easy? And over here is where the elastic is going to go. Now, this from here to there is cut on the fold. So you're going to mark that. Okay? Now, let's trace the pattern piece. So I'm just going to use this white tissue just to show you that it works just beautifully. Okay, where do I have my weights? Here's my weights. I just keep that so it doesn't move. And my pencil. I'm just going to trace right over this. Then I'm going to put this mark right there, and that's a straight line. And I'm also going to put that mark showing me that that is to be cut on the fold. This back here will serve as the grain line as well. So there you have it. There's your pattern piece. Voila. Okay, now to cut it, so this way I can cut multiples, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it along the fold line, just like that. Okay, so that's folded along the fold line. Again, I'm going to use my weights. And I'm going to cut the pattern piece out. Now, you can put this directly on the fabric, but that means that you're going to have to cut one layer at a time. I like to work smart, not hard, so I'm going to make the pattern piece larger, or have both sides at the same time, and that way I can cut both fabric and lining at one time, or even multiple layers. You can cut up to about 6 layers just using your scissors. So there is your mask. All right, so now I have my pattern piece. I'm going to choose my fabric. Use either a cotton. I have some blue silk charmeuse, or I have some black silk charmeuse. So I'm going to make one for my husband and one for myself. For him, I think I'll make it in black. For myself, I think I'm going to use the blue charmeuse because it's very breathable, very lightweight. Plus, I like the color, and I can. The cotton one is very good. There's nothing wrong with cotton. It's just cotton. So I'm going to go with the silk charmeuse. Now, as far as elastics go, my little stash of elastic is very depleted because I don't really use a lot of elastic. So you have, like, this is actually too thick. but it seems that that's all I have. I have some black one, which is fine. I'm going to use this one here. So for this one, you would put just 2 strands to go around the head. The other option is twill tape. So that way you just put 4 strands and it gets tied at the back of the head. I have some lingerie elastic, which I made one with this one yesterday, and it looks kind of cute, very different. But anyway, it all depends what you have. I think that elastics can be ordered online. I'm not sure, but anyway, the twill tape will work just fine at this point in time. So now I'm just going to put the fabric. I'm just going to fold it. Now I want the shiny side to show. And I'm just going to fold it, and I know you don't ordinarily do this for dresses. I'm just going to fold it up, just like that, just because I don't want to waste fabric. And I'm putting it on the double because that way I can finish it with a lining, with its own lining. Kind of looks like a little bra for the face, doesn't it? So, now this pattern does not have seam allowances. You have to add the seam allowances. There's my pins. So I'm going to pin it down. Then you just add like just 1 centimeter all the way around. You don't need very much. Once you get going on this, when you have the pattern made, you can make as many as you want because it is very, very quick to put together. So the folded side is at the top. Okay, so if you want to add your seam allowances, you can do that. You can eyeball it too. It's not a huge deal. You can eyeball it. But just to lead by example, I'm going to mark it. So 1 cent, okay, you can't see that. Okay. So this is what it looks like when you've added the seam allowance, just like that, all the way around. Once you've finished all of that, then you can go ahead and cut. There you go. It's all cut out. And now we're going to sew it together. Now we're ready to sew. Now here is the little mask. This is the top. This is the bottom right here. That's the bottom. And these seams are going to be sewn together. So don't blink because it's very, very quick. Like I said, I want to have the shiny side out. And this is very, very lightweight. So I'm going to take one piece at a time and I'm going to fold it. Okay, so that's folded that way. This is folded the same with right sides together. Okay, so for the silk charmeuse, I want to have the shiny side out. All right, let's sew. Now it's 1 centimeter seam allowance. And if you go off a little bit, it doesn't really matter. It's not the end of the world. It's just a mask. Yeah, I wouldn't be saying this in, in my regular sewing classes, but so enjoy it while it lasts, students. Okay. So this is what it's going to look like when it's finished. It has to be pressed. I have my iron on. So one side is the fabric and the other side is the lining. Doesn't much matter which one you use for which side, because they are both sides are finished. Okay. Now, I see my iron. Okay, so here I have my my little hem. I'm going to press this. So first off, I'm going to do this. Then you can press it to one side or the other, or you can press it open, whatever tickles your fancy, or whichever you can do easiest. Okay, so I think it's going to be one side. Just to get a sort of a smooth finish on the outside. Okay, let's do that again. Okay. Now you're going to take and put right sides together. Just like that. And then we're going to stitch this seam and this seam, and then we're going to turn it right side out. And then all you have to do is just do the edges. So now it's very, very simple. Okay? Okay, so we're back to our sewing machine. And we're going to stitch, as I said, we're going to stitch the bottom edge and the top edge together. We're leaving the sides open. Okay, so there's one edge done. And now the other edge. Now the other edge over here, it came to a bit of a point, so I'm just going to smooth that out as I sew. Okay, can you see that? Just going to smooth that out as I sew. And that's quite fine. Like I said, it's just a mask. So here we go. This is going to go well with my my shopping jackets that I made, seeing that it's our only outings these days is to go grocery shopping, and I have time on my hands a little bit. So now you see it. It looks pretty good. One side's the lining, one side's the right side. So I'm just going to trim off some of this excess seam allowance on the inside, just because it just gets rid of a little bit of bulk. Like, you want to be really comfortable when you're wearing this. This is, because it's silk, it would also work well as a liner for medical professionals to wear underneath their regulation masks. This is not a medical mask by any means. It's just a mask for your own protection that is reusable. Now, it is silk, this one here. Silk can be washed. Yes, it can. It can be washed. Just put it in a tub with soap and warm water, not cold, warm water. Just let it soak for a little bit, maybe 15 minutes, half an hour, and then go back and rinse it. Sorry, I'm gonna get big scissors. Then go back and rinse it and hang to dry. Don't just gently squeeze out the excess moisture. Don't wring it, and it'll be fine. Okay, so you see what I mean by I smoothed it out as I was sewing? It's fine. You can do that. You're allowed to do that. You have my permission, so go for it. Because it may not come again. Okay, so evened out the seam allowances. Now I'm going to turn it right side out. I think my computer is telling me that I need to plug it in. So you see, now it just needs to be pressed, and then we will finish off the edges with the ribbon. Okay, here we are, ready to iron. So we're just going to press it open, or press it flat. Sorry, not open, just flat. Okay. And if it's not exactly right on, don't worry about it. Gotta love this iron. I've had it for I don't know how many years. I pray that it doesn't break down. Okay, so you see here? Let's flip it over to the other side. Does take a little bit to press. Cotton is much easier to press, I have to say, because it's not as slippy. This is very slippery. But in the end, like a silk mask is very, very comfortable. Silk is actually very, very strong fiber. It's a natural fiber, but it's very, very strong. There we go. Like I said, the measurements may vary depending on the person you are putting this mask on. If it's for a child, you'd probably want to do it smaller. For an adult, this is the right size. Now to put the finishing touches on, all we have to do is tuck this in. We just have 2 seams left. That's it, two rows of stitching. Tuck this in, just like that, and press it. One and the other. Whoops. Can still flatten it a little bit more. Just at the edge here. Now we're going to get the either elastic or twill tape and just sew it right into this opening right here. 1 and 2, and you're done. So I think I'm going to go with this frilly elastic right here just because I like it. It's cute. And because it's a wider elastic, the tension is distributed more evenly. It won't pull and tug at the ears or at the back of the head or on your hair. Won't get your hair caught in there as much. So I think that I might go with that, just like that. Okay. Or the twill tape and tie it up. Either or. Ideally, it'd be nice to have like an elastic that's about half. This is 1 centimeter. It's about half a centimeter. That's the perfect width for these because it has stretch, but it's not as tight. Okay, so let's see what we can do now. Okay, so I opted for the twill tape because there's a little trick that I wanted to show everyone in the event that they only have twill tape and not elastic. So I'm going to take and put one piece at one end and just start sewing. Start sewing. Then I'm putting the other end, or the other piece at the other end. So that it looks like this. Okay, you might even go back and give it a second second row of stitching just to keep it more secure. That way it won't accidentally come undone. I don't know if that ever happens to you, but it certainly happens to me. Now on the other side, the same thing. So first one end, if it would cooperate, that would be great. You know, sometimes fabric is just like kids. You want them to do one thing and it wants to do something else. And there's no convincing it to do what you want. And the other one. Okay, I'm going to do another row of stitching on this side as well. There you have it. There is a protective mask. Now, this is absolutely not a medical mask. I want to make that perfectly clear. This is just for your own protection, to go outside grocery shopping. It is not waterproof or water resistant, so you have to watch that. You can use a microfiber on the outside if you like, and the silk on the inside as a lining, and that way the microfiber the water tends to bead off of it more so. So this is just a measure of protection. All right, so now, as I said, I have a little trick to show you about the ends, because the ends of the twill tape will fray. They will fray, so there we are. So the ends will fray, so you have to heat set it, sir. What I'm going to do is light a tea light, because in the absence of a laser cutter, we have light, or like a tea light, a candle, or a gas stove, anything, and just with the heat there. That was a little bit too much. Okay, just kind of go over it, over the flame, and you blew it out. So just kind of like that, and you will those ends will never fray. Okay, so you just go over the flame, just a little bit. Then when you put it on, under the chin, tie it up here. Over the nose, tie it down here. Okay, so you tie it in opposite directions when you're tying, and this way it'll stay put. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's easy enough to follow the instructions. If you have any questions, you can always go to my website, www.cinchitpants.com. That's CYNCHIT pants.com, and contact me through our contact page. So again, this particular mask is not for medical reasons, can be used as a liner underneath the regulation masks. This is only for your own personal use. Thank you very much and have a great day.